Me, it would be my pipe smoking.
Your pipe smoking? I probably wouldn't talk about the marijuana issue.
That.
I wouldn't care. Because here's the thing. I don't care about it. I
One
really
way
don't.
or the other?
But my issue with it is when, and we saw this in Montreal, I talked about it when people lie about it and they're dishonest with their voting constituency.
Like how so?
Well, saying, it's medicine for A, B, C, or D. It may be medicine for A, but not for B, C, or D.
Well, what are the B, C's, and D's?
Well,
what are the things that's not medicine
an example.
for?
Well, you're asking me what I wouldn't talk about, and
Right.
you're asking me to defend it.
No,
my point is, I don't really care about it.
But what are the B, C's, and D? Well, you said
It
it's
cures
specific.
cancer.
Well, there
one.
has been shown...
It helps with cancer about as much as
not-
turmeric and ginger. Those
well,
things
all
help
those
with cancer.
anti-inflammatory things.
Yeah, I know, but it's not a prescription.
But CBD has been shown
With
to have
seizures.
tremendous benefits for cancer and non-psychoactive.
Yeah, and certainly with seizures. I have zero
Yes.
problem with CBD being
Okay.
legalized. But my
Which is
issue
also
is
cannabis.
I'll have to, I feel the need to call people out in bullshit when they say, well, the reason it's not is because of big pharmaceutical companies. I go, hold on a second. There's 7 patents on chemical compounds for marijuana right now.
Right.
The people who stand to make the most out of marijuana legalization are pharmaceutical companies. That's why they
Well,
make.
that's not true.
Well, it is. If you look at the biggest supplement
No,
companies,
because
it's
you
owned by
can't-
the same pharmaceutical
but you
companies.
can't patent
and the
a
one
plant.
that yes, you can. They've patented seven at
You can
least.
patent
Curtin,
strains that are
7
GMOs.
chemicals- No. 7 active chemical compounds in pot that have been patented as drugs. They've gone through the process.
Yeah,
There's
but you
one
can't
that's really
patent it
efficient.
to the point where you can't grow pot. How would you stop someone if
sure
pot's
you can.
legal? If pot's legal, how would anyone? And if that's the truth, then
No.
that's a real problem.
If pot is recognized as a medicine, right? If pot is
Okay.
recognized, there's no one who would stand to gain more than pharmaceutical companies by providing it as
That's
medicine.
not necessarily true. If people are allowed to
Maybe
grow
it's
it
not
themselves.
necessarily true. I'll give you that. But I also think it's not necessarily true that the reason people can't smoke up is because Big Pharma is sitting somewhere, Martin Shkreli going, oh, let's make pot illegal.
Well, not that
That's
guy.
my only point.
But there are absolutely people who have lobbied, as we talked about how the prison guard union
Yeah.
has lobbied to keep marijuana illegal. There's absolutely pharmaceutical companies have done the same thing. It was revealed in the WikiLeaks memos.
See, this is where I was saying
it was,
I don't
hold
care
on,
about
don't
this.
interrupt me, you fuck. Where Hillary Clinton said that she's against marijuana in every sense of the word, right? You remember those
Trump's pretty
WikiLeaks
against it,
papers
too.
that came out?
Yeah.
Is he? He said he would leave it up to the states.
Yeah.
That's actually a constitutional approach.
But he wants to beef up the war on drugs.
You know why? I bet someone slipped him a pot cookie once and he looked at his hair in the mirror. And
No,
he
he's a
goes,
teetotaler. He doesn't even drink.
What the fuck?
Sold vodka, doesn't drink, Donald Trump. It's crazy.
Yeah. Ever?
No, he says he claims he's never had a
Colorado
drop.
topped $1 billion in legal marijuana sales in 2016.
Good.
Holla.
Yeah.
Holla at Colorado.
Yeah. But another thing that we just wrote about, and again, people get mad with the weed
Economics.
issue. Well, no. Traffic fatalities regarding marijuana have skyrocketed.
Google that because that's...
Yeah, we wrote about what the sources
First of
there,
all,
original studies.
Just because someone gets in an accident and they're high,
See, here-
because hold on, stop.
No, hold on a second. This is
you
because you just
interrupt
want-
way too much.
No, no,
You need to stop.
you talk in
hold on a
paragraphs.
second. No. I don't talk in
Go ahead.
paragraphs. I make full points. If people are high a lot
Yeah.
and the same amount of fatalities exist, but the people that get checked once they get into these accidents happen to be high, it does not necessarily mean that marijuana caused those fatalities. It could be that you have an increased incidence of people doing marijuana and altercations that could not have been avoided.
It could be.
It could be.
But the statistical change is measurable.
well, what is
from
it?
pre and
You're
post.
talking about in Colorado.
In states where it's been decriminalized
Let's
or
go
legalized.
with Colorado. Pull it
So,
up,
hold on
Jamie.
a second. You just said, let me make my point. Again, my point is I don't care about it.
Yeah, you do.
No, I really don't.
You don't care about
No, here's the
people
thing.
dying?
You
You
get
son of
no,
a
no, you get
bitch.
so touchy about it because someone says, you know what? If people want to smoke up, fine. I just don't really buy the arguments that everyone is in some big conspiracy to try and snuff it out.
No, there
and
are
the
some.
idea and the idea that the drug war will end and the idea that it cures cancer. I just don't buy that, and
Well, it
people get
does.
so upset.
Well, listen,
That's my only point. That's why I
scientific
wouldn't talk about
studies
it.
have proven that it shrinks tumors, that it helps people with cancer. Much like turmeric, much like any things that reduce inflammation, including
Turmeric,
CBD
ginger,
oil.
tart cherry.
Right, but it's not necessarily
fighting for
a
those to be-
magic. They're all legal, and there's no issue because they're not psychoactive.
Right.
But they are beneficial. So all these things are good. Marijuana is one of the things that are good. And don't shore, man. Just like you don't shore turmeric, you don't shore ginger, you don't shore a reduced sugar diet. All those things that reduce inflammation are good
Yeah,
for you.
I don't buy that smoking marijuana would be as beneficial as a reduced sugar diet. And my point is that people get so offended by me saying that and saying, but if you want to smoke, go ahead.
You might be correct.
Shouldn't be offensive.
But it doesn't matter because it's not a fucking contest to see what's the most beneficial. The question is it beneficial and is it damaging?
It is. It does matter. The
What's
fact
damaging?
That you said, no, let me finish my point. It does matter. You said, what would you not talk about? I said, probably pot because I don't care. Well, what do you think about it?
You definitely
I said,
care. That's
this
why
is
you're
what I
arguing
think
with me
about
it.
And your eyes
Lying.
light up. And all of a sudden, where ideology and worldviews
like
shouldn't be discussed.
No,
you're
care.
going to laser in like a tractor beam on the most important issue of the day that I said, I don't care.
You're the guy that thinks people should be able to do whatever. You're a free market guy,
that's
right?
what I just said.
So if you're a free market guy, why wouldn't you be in support of something, whether it's the most beneficial or equally beneficial?
Just said I am.
But you're not necessarily because you're denying.
But because right now of the chemical compounds.
Hold on, fuckface. You're denying.
Watch it. Come on. It's been a good conversation.
We're friends. I'm just joking. Since marijuana legalization, highway fatalities in Colorado are at near historic lows.
You haven't bringing up the source that you want to find.
Washington
Bring
Post.
up the study right there. Yeah, Washington Post. Bring up the study that we wrote. We wrote about it on our website.
Look, I don't care about your website, you fuck. Since marijuana legalization, highway fatalities in Colorado
Since you called me Since you called me a fucking puss, and you do this with the crazy lady at a comedy club,
buddy,
you think if you scream enough that it makes a point. My point is, I don't care about it.
I don't think that if we
Smoke
scream
up.
enough.
And you just said I was interrupting. You're interrupting now and screaming.
Because
I don't
Jamie
care about it
put
enough.
up a post, and you're not.
But I don't buy
ignoring
that it's as valuable as a low sugar diet. And the fact
doesn't have to be as
that
valuable.
You can't have a conversation about this as civilly as you did every other issue tells me that there's a problem. This is a TNT powder keg.
I can.
The
problem is I get really defensive when people start talking over me, and you started it first. But the reality is that a low sugar diet is fine.
Sure,
it's good too. But why is there a competition between a low sugar diet and turmeric and marijuana and CBD oil? Why? Why does it even have to be discussed?
Because one is making the claim regarding legality that it cures cancer.
Because
my
the
only
other
point is I
ones
don't
are
believe
legal.
it. No, my only point is
because the other ones are already legal. They don't have to fight for it.
Yeah, but no one's prescribing. No one's dishing out dispensaries for turmeric or ginger.
They certainly are. If you go to these local juice shops.
Anyway,
you go to these juice shops. People are promoting ginger like crazy, turmeric like crazy.
I
go online.
Couldn't care less people want to smoke joints.
So what do you think then of, you're talking guys in their prime, and what do you think? You mentioned him. What do you think of the Jake Paul phenomenon?
He's a bad motherfucker. And anybody who denies he's a bad motherfucker is crazy. He knocked down Anderson Silva in a boxing match. I don't care if Anderson Silva's 47 years old. I'm sure he's in the best shape that you could be at 47. And I'm sure their drug testing is basically non-existent. I'm sure he was probably, trained as well as you can be trained at 47 years old. And he's also like a certified killer. He's so good. Anderson Silva was so fucking good and still good. I mean, in the beginning, in the first round, he was winning that fight. Like, you could see what Anderson Silva's capable of. And Jake Paul beat him. That's fucking end of story. Now, if he goes on to start beating actual, real, professional boxers with credible records, that's where things get interesting. And I think the way he's doing it is brilliant. He fights Nate Robinson, he fights Ben Askren, he fights Tyron Woodley, gets all these fucking brutal knockouts against guys who are like, at least have names. Tyron Woodley, even though Tyron Woodley might have been, at the end of his career and maybe not as dedicated he was when he was the welterweight champion of the UFC, he's still Tyron fucking Woodley. He's still a dangerous, dangerous man. And Jake Paul flatlined him.
Yeah.
Flatlined him. That is
I don't know if
one punch.
I don't know if he'll ever fight a boxer. I don't know what.
He will.
You think so?
Sure.
Why?
Because if the money's right. If the money's right and they give him the right fight where it makes sense, like Tommy Fury, that's a good fight for him.
Tommy Fury is not a real boxer.
Of course he's a real boxer.
No chance.
He's a professional boxer. Is he a world champion? No. But maybe he is. Is he?
No.
What is he? What is
Tommy Fury?
He might have some sort of a title.
If he does, it's in name only. I saw Tommy Fury box. He is not a boxer.
Well, he's definitely a boxer.
Well, he puts on gloves.
He's definitely a boxer. But is he a boxer like his brother? No.
Well, clearly. But Tommy Fury we would not know who Tommy Fury was if his last name wasn't Fury.
Probably we wouldn't know as much about him.
I don't.
But he's still a good-looking guy. He's built great. He looks looks the part.
Looks the part, no doubt. But what I'm saying,
he's a good journeyman boxer.
Let me rephrase this. I think Jake Paul would kill Tommy Fury, and that wouldn't change. I don't know how good Jake Paul is, but I don't know. I don't know of any boxer who can bring enough to a Jake Paul
So
fight.
here's Tommy Fury. You telling me this guy doesn't look like a boxer? You're out of your fucking mind.
Who's he fighting?
But I don't give a fuck, dude. Look at this. Look at this. He's fighting a professional boxer. The guy's fighting looks good. Dude, you're crazy if you don't think Tommy Fury's a
I don't
boxer.
think-
Look at that uppercut. Shut the fuck up, dude.
No.
Shut the fuck up. Watch this.
Find
Look,
the
just
Tommy
look at
Fury.
this.
Find
Dude.
the Tommy Fury fight on
Dude,
the
shut
Jake Paul card.
Shut the fuck
this
up.
This guy cannot.
Please shut the fuck up and watch this. Watch what he's doing. This motherfucker is 100% a boxer.
Can you
You're
find me the
just
record of
watch
Volkanovski?
this. Stop. Watch this. Watch this. Look at this. Look at this.
What is
This
that?
guy's a fucking boxer,
That
man.
doesn't prove anything. Find me the record of Volkanovski.
Just look at this. Just look at what he's doing.
That's
I don't give a shit. Look at the way he's delivering these combinations. He's 100% a boxer.
No.
Dude, you're high. You're
No.
fucking high. Look at that
Maybe
right
on
hand.
cigar.
Dude, look at this fucking punching ability. Tommy Fury is 100% a legit boxer. You're out of your mind if you
No.
don't. Look at this.
What
look
is
at that
you
right
think
hand.
that was in slow motion.
No,
I
it's
think.
not in slow motion.
I think you slowed that down.
No,
do anything, but this is a highlight reel.
This is a highlight reel. But look at his highlight reel. Look at his highlight reel. He is 100% a legitimate professional boxer. If you don't think so, you're just being a hater.
No, I'm not a hater.
Dude, I'm telling
Why would I
you.
hate
Find
Tommy
another
Fury?
He might not. He's not Dimitri Bivol. He's not Canelo Alvarez. But he is 100% a real boxer.
I'd like.
Even if the conspiracy theory that every now and then a politician, someone in power, even maybe an entertainer has someone suicided because they're in the elite, they got all the connections and they can get away with it.
Right.
Even if that's not true, and that's all bullshit, and every suicide generally is a suicide, even though it looks weird. And they make it look like when you watch that movie, the documentary, The Clinton Chronicles on YouTube. When you watch that, man, they make it look obvious to send a message like, listen, we got the coroner in our pocket. You don't want to fuck with us. We can make anything happen, and
Yeah.
no one's going to jail. That's what that is. But that's the conspiracy theory. But if it's not real, damn, that's a good idea. You know what I mean? Run with that shit. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
If you're corrupt and you want to hold on to your power and you want to climb up as high as you can in the political world, that's a great idea, right?
Yeah.
Own the corner, go after the corner. Wherever you're mayor or wherever, go after the corner. You got to own them. And then there's evidence that you look at stuff, certain cases, and it's obvious for certain cases they fly in a corner, or they fly in. It's so shady. But why wouldn't it be? And why wouldn't you believe it?
Well, you
why
know the
wouldn't
Enron.
Why would?
Do you want the best one? The Enron whistleblower who shot himself in the head
What happened?
twice. Shot himself in the head
Exactly.
twice.
They do that on purpose. That's an obvious sign. If you were a detective, would you enter a case like that and go, listen, someone got suicided, but it looks fishy? Would you say, nah, it's a suicide. Don't disrespect the family. Just keep it a suicide. They told us it was. No, you would want to know what the fuck really happened. Like if one of your relatives died or whatever, and they said she committed suicide, and you were like, fuck. But then someone you know that knows him said, it wasn't suicide, bro. Wouldn't you want to know the details? Or would you say, it was a suicide, that's what the cops said, you know what, we should have respect for their soul and their family? Would you say that, or would you say, tell me what the fuck happened? What do you know? Right?
Yeah.
Right? That's
Right.
natural. If it's your family, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So when it comes to stuff like, you look at Chris Cornell, him and his wife had a foundation, him and Chester were best friends. The conspiracy theory, I don't know if it's true, but they found out
I don't
some
wanna
shit.
hear this, man.
They found out some shit.
Let's be respectful.
No.
like we don't know.
I don't know.
We can't
I'm not
talk
naming
about
any
this.
names. I'm not
okay,
but you
let's-
got to look into it. It's,
okay, but this guy just died, man. I just don't think this is shit to speculate
dude,
on.
that's why you should speculate it when you find out the connection and the way they died. They made it. Chris Cornell had 9 broken ribs and a gash in the back of his head when he
did?
hung him. Yes, and they said the official story is from the CPR. The CPR, he was already dead when they got there, and they break 9 ribs doing CPR, and there's a gash behind his head.
the gash behind his head when they cut him loose and he bangs his head off the ground.
And he's hanging off like one of those exercise
So you
rubber
think
bands.
someone killed him?
When you look at the evidence, you're like, holy shit, he looked like he was murdered. And then Chester,
Okay.
right before, Chester dies the same way. The exact same
Okay,
way.
dude, let's not do this, man.
No.
I don't want to even do
Okay,
this. I
all
don't
right.
even want to do this.
Okay, all right. Okay. I'm just looking into it because I
This
love
is-
Chester. I love Chester. I
understand.
love Lincoln Park. Who got you
understand.
into Lincoln Park?
Okay,
I got you
understand.
into Lincoln
I
Park.
understand. I don't
I'm
want
just
to talk
saying,
about conspiracy
okay.
theories involved in this guy's death, especially when he just died. It just seems so disrespectful.
No, he's one of my favorite singers of all
I
time.
understand, but if he really did just kill himself, like it seems so disrespectful to speculate that he was murdered because of some conspiracy theory. I don't know what the case is, but I don't even want to
Okay.
talk about it.
All right, all right.
But do you know what I'm saying?
You know what? I said enough. I don't need to say no more. I don't want to get into trouble, but